And I went to his townhouse, and he was really over the top. And he was taking me upstairs. We get into an elevator, and it was as big as a coffin standing on its end. And here I am, right with this guy, right in front of me. And it was the creepiest feeling in the world. And I told Mel about it. I designed an elevator for that set.
Between the three of us, there wasn't hardly room to breathe, which I know made it funnier. But I felt like a sardine squished in there. And I think it was very clever on Mel's part and the set designer to make it so small. You know, usually you act it small, but there's a lot of room. But that was really tiny.
Zero Mostel had put his hand in a place that was not really to put his hand, and he was doing that. I was in pain. And then when I saw the movie, well, I thought, well, the best thing I can do now is really leave America.
I had a hard time not laughing. I don't want to ruin takes, and this was only my second film. And I didn't have a lot of words, but I had a lot of reaction. And that was even better.
Do you know, I never realized that the Third Reich meant Germany. I mean, it's drenched with historical goodies like that.
The beauty of the writing is I am the audience. Whatever they're thinking, I can show it in my face, in my eyes, and my gasps, because that's what they're doing, which I guess makes it funnier. I remember thinking when we were filming it, this must be how the audience is going to react.
Ah! Oh, what? I see it! I see it! A line of beautiful girls dressed as stormtroopers, black patent leather boots, SM. Love it.
Christopher Hewitt. He was the first one who read for the role of Roger Debris. There were no other readings. He came up, he read, and I said, that's it. He's perfect. We go no further.
That is genius! Genius!
I think I speak for Mr. Bloom and myself when I say you're the only man in the world who can do justice to Springtime for Hitler.
I didn't know Chris very well, except we got along great on the set. But I never saw him after we finished. And it was sad when I heard he died.
Ulla, go to work.
Go to work?
Call chauffeur. Get car.
Oh, get car? You, Mr. Bloom, go to motel? Oh, yes, get car. Get car.
There were Hitlers in all shapes and sizes. We had lesbian Hitlers, we had, you name it. In fact, a woman I had gone to school with, I looked around and there she was with a little Hitler mustache on. She was going to audition also. I remember at lunchtime, they all wanted to go eat at the Cromwell drugstore in the RCA building on 50th Street. The Playhouse Theater, I think, was on 47th Street, between 6th and Broadway, and 4 or 5 Nazi officers in full regalia, swastikas on their arms, walked up 6th Avenue to have lunch at Cromwell's drugstore, and a lot of people were really amazed at that.
Young man. Yes, ma'am. What is your name?
Dick Shawn, who turns out to be LSD, was always my first choice. And I just called him. I read him the part on the phone. He said, I'm in. Count me in. He said, besides, I'm out of work. So I'll take whatever you got. You know, so he was a genius in it. His moves and his accent, he was just fabulous.
I would like to sing this song. It's about love and hate. Psychedelically speaking, I am talking about the power.
Leaves meer nicht. Du liet meer nicht.
We needed Eva Braun, and Joe Bologna was going with a beautiful blonde girl called Renee Taylor. And Joe Bologna knew a friend of mine and called him, and he called me and said, Renee is very funny and very pretty and she'd be. So we got Renee Taylor. The truth is, I began my career as a drummer, so rhythm is critical to me. The rhythm of a scene, the rhythm of singular performances, the rim shot of a joke.
And what have you done, LSD?
About 6 months.
So as a drummer, I had a lot of unconscious and innate sense of what was rhythmically correct. And it has stood me in good stead all my life as a director.
Will the dancing Hitlers please wait in the wings? We are only seeing singing Hitlers.
Music has always been very important to me. I think music is the speech of the soul.
There's a Mel Brooks theory of filmmaking. What it is 3/4 of the way through the film, you have to give the audience a zets. And fortunately for choreographers and dancers, it's a musical number.
Gentlemen, it is magic time. Good luck. Good luck.
I knew when it should sing in the movie because in the script it says, and now presenting Springtime for Hitler. Well, it better sing here. If it doesn't sing here, we're in a lot of trouble. You know, we're in the shit house. Start singing.
Action!
Germany was having trouble. What a sad, sad story.
Mel really wrote Springtime for Hitler and the song at the end. And what he did was we got a rehearsal pianist who sat at the piano, and then Mel kind of sang what he had in mind, and then the guy recorded it, played it, and then wrote the music down. And so then John Morris basically worked on his own, and I believe he also, hired his own musicians and did all the scoring.
I came to the producers knowing nothing about film scoring. He first asked me to do the number, Springtime for Hitler. He said, just make the worst, big, wonderful, flashy, but terrible. So Alan Johnson, the choreographer, and I did that. And then Mel asked me to do the score.
John Morris was by far the most creative, the most gifted, and the very best arranger that Broadway had at that time. He was in a class with the very best. The minute we worked on the producers, I knew I must never let this man free. And I took him, he did practically every movie I made, John Morris would do the orchestrations. Alan Johnson, the choreographer, was so helpful because with the help of Alan Johnson, we conceived the whole Springtime for Hitler number as a vaudeville show, as a burlesque show.
We went into pre-production in the studio with John Morris, and Mel threw out every crazy idea he could think of. And they were great, but some were a little over. So we honed it down to something, and we basically laid out the number.
So Alan said, why don't we do a parade number? So when you sing Springtime for Hitler, I'll just have beautiful German girls with beer foam on their breasts, and I'll put pretzels on them, and I'll do a lot of German things. And that was a brilliant idea.
There was one showgirl, and she was over 6 foot tall, And when she saw her costumes, she said, this is really true, she said, I've worked long and hard to get where I am, and I'm not going to wear swastikas on my tits.